Hey guys, Jen here from Mom Dad Cup of Kids, and we are on our video 4 of our vlog series about Konmari. This has been a really interesting experience, and I hope you guys are enjoying along about what our sort of conversations were in dealing with Konmari, so that you know that you're not alone and you know that what your experience is completely natural. So we're about to actually talk about day 14, which is sort of 2 weeks after we did our initial cleanse, and what we found out and where we were sitting at that point in time. And then stay tuned for our last video, which talks about how this really was life-changing for our entire lives. Stay tuned for how this was really a truly life-changing experience for us. So we're going to watch our last video, which was 2 weeks later, and then we're going to have a summary on kind of what our key learnings were in this whole experience. Hi guys. Oh my goodness. And so I want to kind of give you guys an update on where I am 2 weeks later, how we're doing as far as maintenance. We went through all of Chris and I's closets. We went through Lauren's, we went through Spencer's. We purged all of our clothes. We had 16 bags altogether of stuff that we put out, which kind of blew my mind. From there, we actually then did books, and we went through all the kids' books. So are you ready for the big reveal? This has been 2 weeks, and here's our closet still. We actually ended up finding that after we did our initial purge, that we went back and looked at our closet again a couple of weeks later and said, even after we had sort of looked at what we thought sparked joy, there was still a whole bunch of items that we found that we sort of thought, after we'd gotten really into the groove of Konmari, that we still didn't really need. So we actually did a secondary purge that was really quite cool in terms of getting rid of even more space, or creating more space. And do you see that right there? That is space. And I can't actually comprehend this space, because in our closet, that space has never been there before. And that's actually a shared closet, if you can see. Chris and I actually share this closet, so we have space between the two of us, and we still are sharing this closet. I have space for my shoes, which kind of blows my mind in a big way. So this is pretty incredible. For me, on my bedside table, I used to have this kind of stacked up to about here of books, and then I actually had like another side area stacked up to here that kind of matched this bedside table, if you can see. Sorry, it's all gone. There's a lot of people who have this theory about how clutter actually affects your brain. I am a full subscriber to this, and I always thought that having a whole bunch of books on my bedside table made me feel like it was the things that I enjoyed that were there and that I loved to read, so it was sort of something that gave me a lot of heart warmth. What ended up happening is when I released all that and let it go and didn't have that huge clutter around my bed, I felt a sense of calmness when I went to bed rather than clutter. And it really shifted in how I was able to go to sleep at night, simply by getting rid of the stacks and stacks and stacks of books. So, you know, again, just little small details, but they're huge impact. It actually feels incredible. And what I've done is I've only kept books that I actually feel really smitten with. This is a very vintage What Can Women Do book that I got from my friend Mel. I feel like I treasure that. She gave it to me for my 40th birthday, so that just feels all kinds of special. I got the Carry On Warrior from Glennon Doyle Melton, who came to Blistum a couple of years ago, and I really respect what she has to say as far as kind of fighting the good fight. And then I've got my Angelou. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and I love this book, so it just brings me joy. And the last thing is Tales from the Alhambra. And those are the 4 books that I actually kept kind of up here, and other than that, I let most of those books go, and the rest are a couple of ones that sort of still bring meaning and spark joy downstairs. I think in total our books were, you know, those big giant blue IKEA bags. We had 4 of those go out of the house that we got rid of. So we actually like have space in terms of bookcases and stuff like that that I have never seen before, because we've always kind of been jammed. We're in a bungalow, 4 people, it kind of gets a little bit intense, and this has just been so helpful to kind of lighten the load. I just wanted to prove to you guys too that if you will see this, I'm still maintaining my drawers. And the thing is that once you kind of do it, it's easy to continue because you've already established the fact that you know how to do it and you don't have to start changing things over. I thought you guys would find this really funny. My mom came to visit, and I love my mom. Don't get me wrong, she is one of the most amazing people, but if you think that I'm OCD when it comes to cleaning, then you have to meet my mother. Because you know how we did Lauren's room, and you know, I thought we did really, really good. Well, then my mom actually went through and repurged everything. And if you can believe, I'm just gonna show you what I showed you from a couple weeks ago. She then felt it was important that we had to get more bins for storage for the kids' stuff. And so, okay, again, when it comes to your family, I will caution you greatly on being sure about who's around to see what you've purged. As much as my mother is fantastic when it comes to helping my daughter declutter her toys, she also has a lot of sentiment that she's sent of memories of us, you know, of my childhood that she sent here in the process of our growing up as a family, that she had a really rough time about what happened when we were starting to get rid of stuff that we felt didn't spark joy for us anymore. So number one cautionary tale is don't let family members talk you out of what you're already doing in terms of getting rid of stuff. Feel confident in your decisions. Know that ultimately this is about sparking joy for yourself and for your family, and don't let relatives interfere. The kids' stuff has had a double purge, which is kind of hilarious. And other than that, where we're sitting now is the only thing, we went through the kitchen. It was amazing because now we actually have places to put the kids' lunch bags in a space, whereas in the past we didn't have that. The kitchen, the lunch bags would always just hang out there, and now we can just kind of put them up in a corner. They're tucked away. Somebody was asking me how I felt about this whole thing, and I have to say I feel lighter. And I feel like when I see the closet and I see the space, it's really, really helping in terms of my mental capacity when it comes to how busy things are these days, to just kind of go and feel a little bit alleviated. I was feeling very cluttered in my brain, and definitely, yeah, Tiff, lighter is really good. And I have to say it's made a significant difference, especially as we're going into a very, very busy time for our family. I feel proud of myself for maintaining this, and I feel like there's still a lot to get done, but that there's a lot of potential to kind of keep that lightness and keep that kind of mental openness. I feel more creative, which is interesting. Yeah, exactly. I feel like I want to get back to writing, which is something that I've been really stuck with for the last, I would say, probably 3 months. I just haven't felt like I've had space or time to just write, and this is something that has made me want to sort of desire to get oh, you'll love the book, but it really kind of alleviates that clutter that's in your head. Even my body's feeling lighter. I'm kind of feeling more motivated to get back into exercising, which is truly something that I haven't felt for a very significant amount of time. But I love the fact too that we can now just kind of have some more space and openness to be able to be creative. At first I kind of wanted to buy more stuff to fill the space, and now I just realized that it actually just allows me to kind of have a freedom that I haven't had in a really long period of time. Okay, so we have gone through what the entire KonMari experience is. First of all, there's a few key tips that I want to give you. Number one, KonMari method is a super emotional experience. It's a journey that you have to recognize with every single category that you tackle. It is going to be a process that you have to get over as far as what really brings you joy and what feeds your soul versus the stuff that we carry around just because we think about things sentimentally. Number two, it's definitely important, I think, to start with things like clothes or books, because those are things that you're not quite as attached to. But then as you get into sentimental items and paper, man, that is hard knocks. I'm telling you, those are the roughest things to go through in terms of your sentimental pieces that you have so much memory attached to. different particular items. So start with clothes, kind of get into the groove, and then as you continue, it gets much easier. Trust me. Number 3, it takes a lot longer than you realize. I know that you're gonna want to be you're gonna be inspired by either the book or the Netflix series, and then suddenly you're gonna be like, I want to KonMari our entire house right now. I love that energy, and I think that's something that we had as well. But it does take ultimately. Once we completely KonMari'd our entire house, it probably took 2 months of a number of weekends in which we went through that process. So don't have huge expectations on yourself that you're going to get it done in one weekend, because it's exhausting, it's emotionally draining, and it takes a lot of energy. So just, plotting it through a process is actually a great idea to kind of say, okay, like let's do this weekend and get all the clothes done. Let's take a weekend off the next weekend, and then maybe the weekend after that do books and videos and stuff like that. And then ultimately you get to sentimental items at the very end. That is a way in which you're in the groove, but you're not necessarily forcing yourself to go through and resent this by the end of it. Number 4, get your kids involved. It's really important, I think, to have them realize A, the cost of things, B, the responsibility of taking care of those things, and how important they are to caring for and considering for as far as putting things away. It helps them not necessarily. I noticed a distinct difference when we would go to Toys R Us after the fact, in that there was less requests when we were shopping for more stuff. And that really shifted our kids' mindset, because they started looking at the value of things and what was most important, and just the stuff started getting, trickling away. Number 5, recognize that you will not know what to do with all this stuff, that you'll feel guilty about letting it go. When you do, know that it will have a good home wherever it goes. Sell what you can, but don't be attached to the expenditure or cost of everything, because that is going to be a bottleneck. And if you start thinking about money, you're going to start creating excuses about why not to let it go. And it really does ultimately make you feel freer and lighter, and fully is life-changing. 3 years later, we continue to carry on this method. We do it once a year. It's a much easier time because we've maintained this entire experience throughout. And now I was going to say, check out our next video so you can see how this truly changed our life for the good. It is ultimately a big leap that we took. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think about the KonMari method. We're here for you. If we can do it, you can do it. So stay tuned and see what's next.